they briefed a moment ago.
Here we go, breaking news.
We don't have a lot of answers yet on what this was. It was around 8:40 this morning. This call came in of an explosion at the Trump Tower Hotel. They know a Cybertruck pulled up right to the glass entrance doors. Smoke started coming from the vehicle, and then it exploded. Now, they don't know if this was intentional. They don't know if it was something wrong with the vehicle or something that was in the vehicle. The sheriff's saying that they believe everything is safe at this point, but they're looking for, if it was malicious, what the intention was.
Now, there are news reports that I am seeing live on TV now that are actually saying they believe that this was not just a criminal act, that this was also a possible another attempt on President Donald Trump. But I have not been able to verify or corroborate that anywhere at this point because they are not releasing those reports if that is true.
But the sheriff's saying we don't know what we don't know, but saying that they do believe that the threat is over and that the community is now safe. The FBI is part of the investigation, is looking into it. They are trying to understand what the incident was or was not, but the indicators are there of a vehicle pulling up, smoke begins to come out of it, and then an explosion. The person inside...
And not just any vehicle, a Tesla Cybertruck.
But a lot they still have to figure out.
And Josh Margolin is also following the story for us. Josh, they also say they are looking at this as a possible act of terror. What does that tell you?
That means that they know something and they're not releasing it fully yet.
They don't know what they don't know. They know this, whatever happened.
They can't say that it's probed as a possible act of terror if they don't know yet. You see how the news is really good at doing that?
The valet port in front of the hotel, and they started seeing some smoke, and then it exploded. Apparently, this is according to law enforcement sources that we're talking to, there were some fireworks-style mortars in the truck. Now, the question is, were they set off intentionally at the hotel? Were they set off or were they lit so that they would go off somewhere else? That really is the key thing, and they're working to find out who the driver was, what the motive might be, because that's obviously the key. But this was not an accident in their mind, and that's why they're saying possible.
And that's why so many other news reports are saying that this is a possible attempt on President Donald Trump. Again, another one.
So they can get everything done. You can't go back.
But that's unconfirmed. Now, if you haven't heard about yesterday, a man intentionally drove a pickup truck into a crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, French Quarter, early on New Year's Day, unaliving at least 15 people and injuring dozens of others. I read another report verifying and corroborating this, that it was over 30 now other people injured on top of the 15 who lost their lives. The attack is being investigated as an act of terrorism, the Federal Bureau of Investigation said. The man driving the vehicle has been identified as Samsud Din Jabbar, 42, a U.S. citizen from Texas, the FBI has said. In televised remarks Wednesday evening, President Biden said the FBI has determined that just hours before the attack, Jabbar posted videos to social media indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, expressing desire to KILL. FBI Special Agent Althea Duncan said in a news conference on Wednesday afternoon that a black ISIS flag had been flying from the truck's rear bumper. The vehicle has an electric Ford pickup truck and appears to have been rented, the FBI said. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick said on social media Jabbar rented the truck on December 30th while living in the Houston area before heading to New Orleans. Duncan said the investigators do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible for the attack, and the FBI believes he may have had help carrying it out. Duncan said the FBI is looking at a range of suspects and does not want to rule anything out at this stage of the investigation. The FBI is also working to determine the man's potential affiliations or associations with terrorist associations. A person familiar with the investigation told CBS News that at this point, neither ISIS or any other foreign terror organization has claimed responsibility for this attack. The attacker drove around barricades and up onto the sidewalk of Bourbon Street, New Orleans. Police Department Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick said, avoiding barriers. Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick said, avoiding barriers that had been placed by police. Kirkpatrick said the man was trying to run over as many people as he possibly could. We had a car there, we had barriers there, we had officers there, and he still got around, Kirkpatrick said. The man then exited the car and opened fire on officers. The FBI official said he died after exchanging pew-pew fire with 3 responding officers. The FBI said he was struck by police fire and declared deceased at the scene. The New Orleans Police Department said 2 police officers were hit by pew-pew fire, but were in stable condition. Weapons and 2 potential improvised explosive devices, or IEDs, were located in the vehicle, Duncan said. At least 1 other IED was found in the French Quarter and was detonated by law enforcement. A person familiar with the investigation said the number of IEDs left behind is a large part of why the FBI believes the man may have had an accomplice, sources tell CBS News. Investigators are combing through video to see if there were accomplices involved with placing the devices, sources told CBS News. Further sweeps by law enforcement did not find any more IEDs, Duncan said. Kirkpatrick said police walked the area as a grid, looking for any suspicious items. Anyone who sees anything suspicious should contact officials, Duncan said. A long weapon was recovered from the scene, law enforcement sources told CBS News. The long weapon had a suppressive device on it that acted as a silencer, according to sources on the scene. 2 sources familiar with the investigation told CBS News that the man was wearing body armor. Investigators from the FBI, Homeland Security, and Bomb Squad have all been on the scene at an Airbnb in the St. Roch area of New Orleans, where officials tell CBS News the suspect was staying while in New Orleans. That building caught fire on Wednesday, and the investigation into that fire is still ongoing. Duncan asked that anyone with information about the man contact the FBI. A U.S. official confirmed to CBS News that he had previously served in the U.S. military. Officials react to this as a horrific act of violence. I am speaking solely for myself and in my own opinion when I say, what in the actual FUCK is wrong with people? You see this type of thing on the news almost daily in the United States. We are one country out of 195 countries on planet Earth. And on planet Earth, there is 8 billion Homo sapiens. America has 330 million Homo sapiens, while countries like China have 1.8 billion, India 1.7 billion, and Asia as a continent out of one of 7 continents holds almost 2/3 of the entire Homo sapien population. What is bizarre to me is that this is something that happens way too often and way too much in America. What is going on? What is wrong with everybody? What is with this amount of vehicles going into crowds? People having things that are intended to harm and take lives of other people. The mass violence. What is it going to take for this to stop? Columbine was, what, decades ago? The fact that Columbine happened in 1999 when I was a very young preteen, and the fact that this is something that I'm having to see in the world, in my country, in my nation, at 39 years old, with children. My oldest is 21, my youngest is 11 and a half. This is absolutely mind-boggling to me that this not only occurs, it occurs even more than ever, and there seems to be no end or stop to this impulsive, erratic, violent nature and tendency of people. And the fact that the news go on to make them famous, while the victims whose lives were tragically taken, their names are never even remembered. I don't know about you, but drop your comments below.